one too. Something very unique. I'm kind of jealous about this. You may have seen it on Local 12. They've been all over the news, all over the internet, Facebook, and everywhere else. Is Jeff and Logan Joyner. And they have this website, KoasterKids.com. You can find them on YouTube. I'll do a link for it on my Twitter at Sterling Radio. Jeff and Logan, welcome to News Radio 700 WLW. You're with Sterling. How are you guys tonight?
We're doing really well.
Yeah, doing great.
Fantastic. I appreciate you making some time. For those who don't know, and maybe we'll just start with you, Jeff, and then sort of give you a chance to sort of say, what is Koaster Kids? What's it about?
Well, Logan is 11 years old, and for the folks that don't know his story, he was, when he was little, he wasn't talking when he was 1 or even 2 or even 3, and he did a lot of very repetitive things, would scream and cover his ears, and we had him evaluated when he was 3 and a half and got a diagnosis that he was on the autism spectrum. And so we went through, what a lot of parents are going through, of a lot of uncertainty and not really knowing what the future would hold. Got into a great program at Lakota Schools where he's a student, and it really helped him a lot. Learned how to talk. At 3 and a half, he hadn't ever even said a word, but really started developing great. Was still had a lot of the typical symptoms of autism spectrum disorder. Fear of loud noises, strangers, crowds, fast-moving things. And so we were shocked when he developed an interest in roller coasters. And so he would spend hours on YouTube watching roller coaster videos. And we'd ask, do you want to ride? And he'd say, are you crazy? Fast, it's too high. But after about 3 years of studying, and he would memorize all the stats of how fast they go, and the manufacturers, and how many feet of track, and how much speed. But one day when he was 9, he said, Dad, I'm ready to be brave. I want to ride a coaster. And so we went over to Kings Island, rode a kiddie coaster. He loved them, started riding bigger and bigger ones. The surprising turn in the story was that we noticed the more he rode, the less afraid he was of loud noises. He was getting more confident. He was looking people in the eye. And so his teacher said, hey, keep doing it. And so we started traveling around and going to theme parks, and it was unbelievable how different he was becoming, stronger and more confident. And he totally lost his fear of loud noises, became much more comfortable with people. So about 2 years ago, he decided he wanted to start a YouTube channel. I didn't even know what that was. But,
of course not.
But, yeah,
he would, though. That's tremendous. That's awesome.
Yeah, Koaster Kids with a K and a K. And so he makes these videos. He rates the coasters on the Logan scream scale of 0 to 5 screams. And again, a surprising turn in the story came when we started getting comments and emails and videos from kids all around the world saying that they were inspired by his courage, and it was making them want to be brave too. And so Logan has really developed a desire to want to help other people be brave, and that's kind of what this channel has turned into, and it's really great.
It's getting a bunch of attention. I think it's a pretty amazing thing. Before we talk to Logan, Jeff, I'm kind of curious. Is he your only child, or do you have others?
No, we have 3 kids. Logan's got 2 older sisters. In fact, if someone goes to the YouTube channel, they'll see the first year Logan was brave enough to ride coasters, but too shy to be on video by himself. And so his sister Natalie, who's 14 now, made the videos with him for the first year. And even though she doesn't like roller coasters, she really supported her brother. And so it was about this time last year that Logan said he was ready to do it by himself. And so, but it's kind of been a family thing. We travel to a lot of theme parks together, but the girls they've gotten sick of coasters, and so it's mostly Logan and me, or Logan and my wife now.
That's a pretty awesome thing. And through this, and we'll see exactly how much Logan wants to talk about it, because he doesn't know me, but obviously we'll get to know him here in a couple of minutes. Jeff and Logan Joyner are going to give us some time here, and are right now on News Radio 700 WLW with Sterling, the guys behind KoasterKids.com, which is a huge thing, and it's on YouTube with its own channel and everything else too. You've spoken to doctors and behavioralists who deal with autism, because he's on the autism scale, and it seems like more and more of us, either directly in our own families or people that we know, it's becoming much more prevalent in either personality issues or socialization skills that maybe a lot of times were either ignored or marginalized, kids who weren't really given what they needed. Things are being identified now. So as you work through this and seeing sort of the Logan coming out of his shell, what have the doctors that you consulted with had to say about this process? Because, I mean, the loudness and the issues of crowds and the screaming and everything basically that would be, be fearful to him with this type of issue is exactly what he marched right towards to hop on those roller coasters, which is just awesome.
Yeah, it's we haven't pursued the medical path as much as just working with the special ed teachers at school, and they were really shocked at first. That first summer he went back to school and they said he's a totally different kid. What happened? I said, well, he spent all summer riding coasters. And they said, no, he didn't. Kids like Logan don't ride roller coasters. And I said, well, this one does. And best we could figure, he's kind of had this battle that he's been fighting internally, which he doesn't like the loud noises and the crowds and the strangers, but he does like the coasters. And best I can tell, and I'm not an expert, and we haven't met an expert yet that really has a good answer, but what appeals to Logan about the coasters is the precision of them. That coasters go the same speed every time. The Diamondback always, Logan, how fast is Diamondback?
80 miles an hour.
So it always goes 80. It never goes 85. It never goes 72. And it's how many feet of track is it?
Over a mile. I don't actually remember.
Yeah, but he would watch these videos online and watch the kind of the point of view cameras and was able to kind of see what it was going to be like. And what we discovered is that even though they were loud and fast and high, they were predictable.
Right.
Unlike the rest of the world around him, where you never know how people are going to behave, you know exactly how a roller coaster is going to behave. And so that, I think, was it. And we've met a lot of other families with autistic kids, and things like trains are really popular with kids like this. And I think for the same kind of thing, they go in a straight line, they don't swerve, they run on a predictable time schedule. And so, but there really was a battle. He would watch those videos, and even when he started riding the small coasters, he got a map of Kings Island and started Xing off all the rides as he conquered them. And we got to the end of the summer, and he hadn't ridden the biggest coasters yet. But his kind of compulsion to finish Xing off all the rides on the map was stronger than his dislike of heights. And so he's just been winning these battles one at a time. And then what's really been neat to us is that the first year the battle was, overcoming the fear of coasters. The next year it was making the videos and articulating his ideas and struggling through, getting recorded. But he really wanted to share what he was learning about coasters with the world. And then this year, the thing that's really pushing his comfort zone is kids come up, every park we go to, kids come up by the dozens or the hundreds and want to meet him and get their picture with him. And Logan, that probably makes you more uncomfortable than the coasters ever did, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it sure has. Definitely.
Don't feel bad, Logan. I am very awkward and shy, which doesn't make sense doing this job, and uncomfortable. And Sterling, by the way, News Radio 700 WLW. I appreciate you making time, Logan, and talking to your dad and you as well. What is your favorite coaster so far? And you've traveled all over the place doing this.
So I've currently ridden over 220 roller coasters, and my favorite out of all of them is the Fury 325 at Carowinds in Charlotte, North Carolina.
As everybody has that southern accent there, too. You like Charlotte or just the park or just the coaster?
I really just like the park. They just have really good rides.
Sure. And you were at Kings Island last night, too, right?
Yeah, I love that park.
How do you like the new coaster? What's it called?
Mystic Timbers.
Yeah, and it's on another all-wood coaster, too, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's probably my new favorite coaster at Kings Island now.
Yeah, that's pretty. Do you like the Beast? Have you ridden that?
Oh yeah, I love the Beast too, especially at night.
When you first started doing this, Logan Joyner, joining me now from Koaster Kids with Sterling, News Radio 700 WLW. Did you ride the racers? They used to have one when I was a kid. They both went the same direction, and then they switched them. One would go backwards, and the one would go forwards. Have you ridden those?
Yeah, I have ridden both trains. Not when it was backwards, though. They changed it the way it originally was.
Right, I got you. So what is it about roller coasters? Your dad mentioned that it's sort of the fact that you kind of know what it is that they're going to be doing, when they're going to be doing it, and how they're going to be doing it by way of speed and otherwise. Is that really pretty much what it is? Or do you get scared? Because I tend to get like a little worked up and scream a little bit too.
Well, for me, it's not scary. Like, I know exactly what to expect. Like, if you're driving on the highway, you have no idea what's going to happen, you know?
Sure. That's right. As far as this thing, because you've done something that's pretty awesome. I mean, me doing this work on the radio, and I've even done some TV stuff, but I have a face made for radio, so I don't do much of that, Logan. But I've noticed that my shyness and my awkwardness is exactly where I sort of found interest in my focus as far as doing work stuff. You have sort of had some fears and issues with things, and you've sort of faced it with these coasters. You have this Be Brave challenge, which is you allowing other people to take part in that. Why have you done that?
Well, that's basically what half my channel is all about. Like, when I first started it, I really wanted to, like, do something I loved. I loved helping people. And, in fact, if you're doing that, you're basically winning life. Because, like, you're making a difference in someone else's life, and that's something that you love. That's perfect.
That makes good sense. Do you have any place right now that's on your list of coasters that you want to ride that you've yet to do? Because you've traveled all over the place. You've even gone to other parts of the world. You've left the United States to go ride these coasters. That's so awesome, Logan.
Yeah, it is. Next summer, we are planning to go to Europe and go to some of the parks in UK, Netherlands, Germany, Spain, and all those other parks. So we're really looking forward to that. It's going to be a really big trip.
I'm sorry.
Sterling, when Logan had about 100 subscribers to his YouTube channel, which I thought was a lot, 100 strangers that want to watch what you do. But he said he wanted to go to Europe someday. That's where some of the biggest and fastest coasters in the world are. And I said, if you ever get to 10,000 subscribers, I'll take you to Europe.
And we're only like 15 subscribers away.
He's like at 9,985, and so we're planning a trip to Europe, which is pushing me out of my comfort zone because me and my kids driving around Europe from country to country is, borderline terrifying.
I can totally understand that. Of course, in some of those places, you got to drive on the wrong side of the road. They don't understand that, but I've dealt with that. On the wrong side of the car, on the wrong side of the road, which is just too much. But the good thing is there's trains and stuff too, which makes it a little bit easier to get around. That's kind of nice. That's for sure. So Logan, what can you tell me and anyone else who has interest in Koaster Kids about it as far as getting involved and maybe, the stuff that they should be looking for on YouTube or wherever else? Because I know you've gone to Kings Dominion, you've gone to Kings Island, we know, which is in our backyard. You've gone to Cedar Point, which is just up 71 in Cleveland. You've been everywhere. I'm really kind of jealous. I need to find an excuse to hang out and do this too.
Yeah, you probably should.
You can come meet us out at Kings Island sometime. We would love that. But Logan, why don't you tell them about your Be Brave challenge? If people want to be a part of that, that's it. And I'll give you the little preview that when Logan saw the ice bucket challenge about a year ago with people dumping ice on their head, 3 years ago, okay, so to raise money for ALS, he decided he wanted to start something called the Be Brave Challenge. And tell him about that, Logan.
So it's basically a challenge where we challenge people to do something brave, do something that's been haunting them for a really long time. Like, I'll give you some examples. You can ride a roller coaster you've been afraid of for a while. You can hold a snake if you're afraid of snakes. You can ride a skateboard. You can even apologize to somebody.
Yeah, I need to do that actually a little bit myself. The apology thing, that's for sure. In school, this has helped you in school too, to some extent, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I really appreciate your time, Logan. It was nice to talk to you. And KoasterKids.com is the webpage, but then there's also, if you just do a search on YouTube or at Sterling Radio, I'll put the links up and people can find out more, and maybe they can come to Kings Island or maybe hook up with you elsewhere and share some of those things as part of the Be Brave Challenge too, which I think is fantastic.
That'd be great. And it is just so, this is harder to get across on radio, I suppose, than some of the other stuff, but it's Koaster Kids with a K and a K.
Right, 2 Ks.
Logan chose to spell coaster with a K, which I didn't really know why at the time, but it turns out that, no one's ever copyrighted that, and so we kind of own that space now with the K and the Koaster Kids.
All right, it's copyright. Don't use it, fool.
That's tremendous. So you're a mogul on top of like ownership issues too. That's tremendous. You're my hero, Logan. Jeff Joyner, thanks so much for your time. Again, KoasterKids.com with the K's for Koaster and Kids. And continue with this success and fun. I mean, it's hard to beat, and you get a summer ahead of you. So where all do you plan on going this summer to ride more coasters?
All right, so we are doing a trip on the East Coast, so we're going to go to theme parks in states like Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York.
Yeah, right after school gets out, we're going to do about, I think, 10 theme parks, 10 or 12 theme parks in 8 or 9 days. And so we're calling, Logan coined it our East Coaster trip.
Very nice. You get some shirts, people can buy those, they can help supplement it, maybe give some more to charity. I see the future is very bright. This is a good idea. I like that. That's tremendous. Well, Jeff, thanks so much for giving us some time. Logan, it was nice to meet you over the phone and on the radio here at News Radio 700 WLW. I hope to talk to you soon, maybe after the summer, see where all of you gone, okay?
All right. Be brave and right on.
Yes, sir. Take care of yourselves, gentlemen. I appreciate the time. Quick break. We'll come back. 749-7800, the big one, pound 700 AT&T. Wanted to have a good conversation. Good guys doing something really neat, sort of facing fears. It's hard to beat that. We'll talk to David Purdom about 7:35 from ESPN Chalked Up, those Bengals, and so much more. Sterling coming up. News Radio 700 WLW.